I'll be using this pattern paper to illustrate the kaftan. So for example, you're using 3.5 for the kaftan. You fold it together like this. You can see you just fold it into two like this. Folding it like this is if you are using one particular fabric for the kaftan. But if you're not, but if you want to combine it, you want one side to be blue and one side to be red, you don't need to fold. Just first of all, you have to cut out the front before you cut out the back. So you don't need to fold it this way. So you fold it like this. Then this folded part, you fold it like this in a bias form. You can see. So this is how you fold it. You fold it. So this particular method, I'm cutting the front and the back together. So what determines the folding of your fabric? You take your measurement. You take your measurement from the middle of your neckline to where you want your sleeve to stop. If it's above the elbow or on the elbow, so you just take your measurement where you want your sleeve to stop. So that is what we that is what we that's what you place on this part. For example, you after taking your measurement, you have 24 inches. So that's what you place on this part. 24 inches. You can add extra 1 inch for the sewing. So you place it on this part like this. Then you fold your fabric in a bias form like this. So the next thing to do, you can see it's not equal. You can see it's not equal. You place your ruler. You can see it. You place it like this to make it equal. So I'll cut it out like this. Equal. Then from here, you now take your the length of your kaftan. If you want it 58 inches, 45 inches. So this is how you take it. From here, you take your measurement. 24. So this is just for illustration. I'll mark out the 24 inches, as you can see. Then I will cut out. So when you open it up, this is what you have. When you open it up, so this will be for the back. This part that is not, this folded part will be for the back. We are cutting the back neckline on this part. Then this open part, we'll be cutting out the front neckline on this part. So I folded my fabric, as you can see, in a bias form. So the next thing, I will measure out my 25 inches. So what I have here is 26 inches. So I'll measure out my 25 inches. Then I will rule it to have a straight line. So from this point now, I will mark out the full length of the dress, which is 16 inches. So if you notice I folded my from, I didn't fold it from the folded part. I folded it from the side that is open. Why? Because my fabric, you notice that the pattern of my fabric is straight. So I want it to come out straight after cutting. So I folded it from the other side, which is the open part. So that means there will be joining at the front and also joining at the back. But the other method I showed you from the beginning, the back there will be no joining, only the front. So but if you fold it from the other open part, the front there will be joining on the front side and also at the back, which is fine. I used 4 yards of fabric for this design. I folded it into two, then cut out. So I'm done cutting. So the next thing to do is to sew. So I'll be sewing the front and the back together. I'll join this part all the way down. Then I'll do the same thing for this other part. So I'm done sewing this part, which is the center front, and I'm also done sewing this part. So the next thing to do is to cut out the neckline. So I'm using a chiffon fabric, and it's just shaking, it's just everywhere. So on the neckline, I added stay to it to help me stabilize these areas because I'll be cutting out the neckline from this part. So I had to use stay to stabilize this area so that when I cut out the neckline, it will come out exactly what I've cut. So I also did the same thing for the back neckline. For the width, I'll be using 3 inches. So I'll be using 3 inches by 8 inches. 3 inches by 8 inches, because by the time I join out, by the time I join half an inch from the shoulder line, it's now 7.5. So I'll measure out 8 inches. So you can give it any neckline of your choice. So I'll just give it a curve like this. So this is the front neckline. I will do the same thing for the back. For the back neckline, I'll just measure 1 inch by 3 inches. Then I'll cut it out. So I'll open it up. I'll place the front neckline and the back neckline together. Place the front neckline and the back neckline together like this, as you can see. So on this part, I'll measure down. I'll measure 8 inches. Now we will take the measurement of the arm opening, where my hand will be coming out from. So from this edge, I'll measure down 8 inches. So I'll measure down 8 inches. So if I want to sew, I will sew from this point, then I'll stop on this 8 inches width. I'll stop on this line. So I'll start sewing from here. I'll stop on this 8 inches. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. From here, I'll measure down 8 inches. So I'll also sew from here to this 8 inches. So I'm done joining. As you can see, I've joined the shoulder line. So this is the shoulder joining, and this is the 8 inches arm opening. So the next thing, you take it to your sewing machine. If you have a weaving machine, just weave it and fold it once. But if you don't, you have to fold it twice. Fold it like this and like this. You sew it all the way around, then do the same thing for the other side. So on the center front, I'll measure 19 inches. It depends on your length. So I'll connect it to the back. So from this 19 inches, I'll rule it like this all the way to the back, like this. I'll start my cutting from this 19 inches straight down to this point. So after cutting, this is what I have for the front. So this is what I have. So the next thing to do is to sew. I'll sew it like this. I'll fold it into two like this. I'll sew it all the way around. Then for the neckline, you can decide to use facing. So for the neckline, at this point, you can remove this stay. If you don't need the stay, just use your hand to remove it. Then you can either use bias tape to turn the neckline, or you use your facing. You place it like this, cut out your fabric, place it like this, then cut out the fabric for the facing. Then you turn the neckline.